All right, let's just jump right into it with the inevitable because it's happening. And I'm going to word it differently as a question to the question. What is an example of an inappropriate question? If I asked you a question about your genitals, how comfortable would you be with that? And would you answer me? And would I get punched? Don't answer that. And don't ask that. I will never ask you those type of questions. Please don't ask people that. Like, literally, don't ask anyone that, ever. Don't talk about the peepees. Welcome back to Hard Questions on Marky's Hard Ass Futon. I have a lot of questions about my shot process, taking the shots, administering them, and like the results and side effects that will happen from being on testosterone. I take a shot once a week into my thigh muscle on either leg. I've been switching legs so they don't get super sore or anything like that. They're not super painful. The only time I've had pain is whenever I accidentally clenched my muscle right when I was taking the shot, which is a bad idea, but it's like a 1-inch needle and you just Pulp Fiction style that right into the muscle and inject the testosterone. The only other video that I have public on my YouTube channel is me administering my shot last week, so I'd have it for my record and also to send to a friend who was doing them at home. So you can always check that out if you aren't freaked out by needles and you want to see an actual injection. It's just like any other injection at the doctor. There's not a whole lot of pain behind it because it doesn't pack a punch or anything like that. It's pretty calm once you learn how to stick yourself and getting over that initial fear of sticking yourself with a needle. So that's not too bad at all. I get blood work done every 3 months, which checks where I'm at and make sure there aren't any issues going on or major side effects from taking the testosterone. And then at that point, my doctor would raise my dosage if it's appropriate, keep me where I'm at if it's appropriate. But about every 3 months, I have blood work done to check to see where I'm at and to reevaluate my dosage. So most of the results that you're looking for when it comes to this, basically, if you're thinking about a young man going through puberty for the first time, that is exactly what is happening to me. So when I start to get testosterone and more into my body, I'm looking for hair growth. I'm looking for my voice change to be lower, which I've already experienced that a little bit, and it's helpful that I'm doing voice exercises on top of the tea to help with that. And then really your body changes a lot, and the way like fat is distributed throughout your body sits more like a man, and muscle growth, you'll get that obviously more, especially if you're working out at the same time, which I'm trying to do as much as possible. And then also my period will stop, which is super important to me. That's just a short list of like kind of what I'm going for and what I feel comfortable talking about, the results that I'm looking for. Then, like I said, they take anywhere from like 3 months is a good onset to when you're going to see a lot of these things start to take place. But honestly, it takes a very long process of staying on T consistently. Some of these things take years. Yeah, I do want facial hair, but it's also going to take a very long time. Some people have worked 3, 4, 5 years to get a full beard. And after you've been on testosterone for about 5 to 6 years, everything that has happened in that time frame maxes out. So I would guess you could say at a certain point you are done transitioning, because those results will max out around 5 to 6 years, but then you will still have to take the testosterone to maintain those results for the rest of your life. So yes, I will take it the rest of my life. Do you ever finish transitioning? I think that's just kind of like a personal feel to everyone that goes through it, whether they feel like they're done or not yet. But some of those physical effects do max out around 5 to 6 years. Um, Again, you just would still take testosterone to maintain those, and that would be forever. So, yeah, long process to get where you're going, and also a forever process to stay where you want to be. As far as side effects go, I haven't experienced anything too awful yet. I have a little oilier skin, which can cause acne, um, just like in puberty, like like you would expect. Um, there's a possibility that you can have male pattern baldness. I'm hoping from my dad's good hair that that will not happen to me, but we'll see. That's not something I can control or even know what's going to happen until it happens. So, like I said, a lot of these things are a few months out for me for it even happening, but like some of it's happening and it's there, and it's just a really long process, and we'll just have to see what happens to me. Another side effect is moodiness. Like, I'm actually pissed off about 5 things that haven't even happened yet, for real. But that starts to settle out too, a few months in, 3 to 6 months, and that should feel a lot better. Just because I'm getting used to new hormones in my body, processing things differently emotionally, as you can imagine. And yeah, pretty much it's more emotional right now than it is physical. That stuff will happen after I get through my angsty aggro period. So that's probably the least fun, is the moodiness right now. But I've been controlling it pretty well, considering. um, Also, I have questions about the cost of testosterone and hormone replacement therapy. So I currently do not have insurance. Um, it's problematic sometimes, and it's going to be okay in other ways. The doctor's office visits are expensive. They're about $120 each time I go, but luckily you're not required to go but every 3 months unless you have specific issues that you need addressed. Um, and the testosterone itself is actually very cheap. I get it at Walmart, of all places. People use it for hormone therapy for a lot of reasons. It's not just trans people that need hormones. There are so many people that need hormones for other reasons. And it's very common to have hormone therapy in anyone's life. So it's very affordable. Mine is about $9 a month right now at Walmart. And I think the main thing that people probably struggle with the most is the blood work. When you have to get that done so often, it's quite pricey. The good news is I work for a major laboratory, so I get those, all of my labs are paid for through my company benefit. So I think that probably saves me about $300 to $500 per office visit without insurance. So that's major. I'm really glad that I have the job I do for that reason alone. And it's manageable. It's definitely going to be manageable. So, yeah, that's about it when it comes to the T-shots. It's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be sticking myself. And for about $50 worth of supplies, I have enough to last for 2 years of shots, since I only take them once a week. So yes, I will have to do it forever, but I am super okay with it. Very, very much okay with it. One of the main questions that I get asked the most and also appreciate the most is, do you have trans friends? Do you have someone transitioning also that you know, that you can talk to, that you can reach out to? My short answer is no, I do not. I'm pretty sure they haven't made a 1-800 rent a trans friend yet. Haven't tried to call. Also, I'm doing this during COVID-19 and we are in a pandemic. So any and all support groups that have been available previous to now are not meeting because it's not safe. I can't just reach out and meet new people right now. We're in a pandemic. It's not safe. It's hard enough to see the people that are already in my life as far as my family and friends go because we are in a pandemic and it's hard to be with people. So short answer is no. I don't necessarily feel like I need that though, because I want my own experience. I don't want any preconceived notions going into this about how I'm going to feel or what my experience is going to be. I just want to take it day to day on my own without anyone else's experience mucking up my own. So I don't mind that so much. I'm realizing that 98% of my friends are cisgendered women or non-binary people. And it started to freak me out at first, but I understand more and more that these people just love me and it doesn't matter their gender. The women in my life have been so amazingly supportive. My first binder was given to me by a cisgendered woman. Most of my friends are cisgendered women. It really doesn't matter so long as you have that support and allies. When I say allies, I don't just mean people that say they support you. I mean people that really, really want to understand what you are going through, even though they do not feel that themselves. Doing the research, doing the Googling, asking important questions, the willingness to learn, that is a true ally, and I'm lucky to have so many of those people in my corner. Having said that, it is pretty important to stay connected to your community, to feel validated, to feel like people understand you in a way that cisgender people do not. It's just hard because I'm doing this during a pandemic. I intend to join support groups when they're available again. It's just not a thing right now. So what I do in the meantime is I have literature, books. Knowledge is power and knowledge is free. Thank you, KCK Public Library. And also I have a couple groups on Facebook that are support groups, but let's be honest, most of those are shit shows and I get very little from those groups. I follow a few people on Instagram who are very good at educating and have already went through the process of transitioning. However, I don't want to depend on that too much either because I'll get a lot of visuals in my mind that are detrimental to me because I'm not where they're at 5 years later and I'm where I'm at now and it seems unattainable and it seems impossible. So I try to limit my social media intake in any way, shape, or form. It can be triggering sometimes and make you feel even worse. So books, actual research, and a lot of support from my cisgendered friends and family. I love you all. I like these questions. These are probably my favorite. I'm not really sure why. It's just a really good question to ask. I was asked, what has been the hardest thing for your family and friends since you've came out as trans? And what has been the hardest thing for you? Me. So I'll start with my family and friends. Definitely the hardest thing for them has been my name change and the pronoun change. Basically there's kind of like, I kind of draw a conclusion of like, the longer you've known me, the harder that's going to be for you. Some of these things are not because people don't want to say my new name or use my new pronouns. It's literally just habitual in our lives for so long that it's hard to break. I have used my name incorrectly. I have used my pronouns incorrectly. because it's also a 40-year habit, almost 40-year habit for me as well. So I have been a great component of the learning curve, because not only is it necessary for all the people in my life, but it's just factual. These things cannot happen overnight. These changes cannot be made overnight, and you can't expect people to be able to do that. Everyone has their own process with it. And like I said, the longer you have known me, the longer it takes to break those cycles. I have a very large family, which is a blessing in so many ways. And they're all going to have their own timing and process for when that works for them. My parents named me and have used that name for me since birth. So that's a tough loss to take. And that's exactly what it is. It's a loss. It's a grieving process. It's valid, and I'm gonna let people go through it, because that's the only way that people are gonna get to where they need to be. Everyone understands that I want to be happy and I need to be happy, and that's a part of it, but it's also just hard. It's hard to change something like that is so deep rooted within my life for so long. As long as I'm seeing people making a conscious effort, then there's no way to upset me when it comes to my name and my pronouns. People at work have been doing very well with my name because they have not known me since birth. Friends that have not been in my life as long are getting it easier than friends that have been in my life longer, because it's not so ingrained, it's not so habitual. Again, it's not something that people are refusing to do. It's literally just people need a learning curve and time to adjust to the changes. So that's definitely been the hardest for them when it comes to my side, and me observing what's hard for them. People aren't making mistakes. There's no need to apologize. You really just correct yourself and move on. I'm not going to completely destroy a good conversation and a good vibe to be the pronoun police all the time. That's just not what I'm going to do. That will all come in time, and I allow it. I think the hardest thing for me personally would be the aspect of kind of making everyone around me and the people I love and care about have to go through this discomfort and change for my happiness, even though I know they're grateful to do it, and they will. It's still very hard for them, and that's been hard for me as well. I've been able to put that aside a lot more lately. And so for me personally, with what I've been dealing with, I think probably the bathroom situation is the hardest for me. And what I mean by the bathroom situation is, which bathroom do I use currently? It depends on where I'm at and my comfort levels, but it's really complicated whenever I identify as male, but I'm also presenting still female to most people. So it's a tough one. It's like staring down a tunnel and you have two doors. One goes this way, one goes that way. Where am I more safe? Where am I less at risk? Where am I less likely to make someone else feel uncomfortable? I mean, if there were gender neutral bathrooms everywhere, I would be absolutely fine, but the reality is there just isn't. I have to choose based on where I'm at and what I'm comfortable with at the time. I feel like the more I present masculine, it will be easier for me to walk into a men's restroom and feel safe. But again, it's just a day-by-day thing, depending on where I'm at. I'm everywhere in the city because of my job. I drive around, so Quick Trips are usually the best because nobody pays attention and nobody knows me there, and I don't know, it's complicated pretty much everywhere I go. And that's something that I've kind of always been used to, but I think it's perpetuated now because I am identifying male, but society probably wants me in the women's restroom. You know, I just don't know. Like, it just really literally depends on where I'm at and where I'm less likely to get my ass kicked or not scare kids, basically. So that has been very tough to navigate. I feel like it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, but it's one of those things you just have to deal with. But I definitely have a few more questions that I want to address, but I'm going to wrap it up for this particular question and answering video. A lot of people have asked about surgeries and things like that. That would be something that I'll get into at some point, not today. And another really good question that was presented to me was, what are some common misconceptions about being transgender that you would like to clear up? That one is going to prove to be a little longer, so I'm just going to save it for the next one and start from there. And if I get any other questions that trickle in that I haven't got to yet, I'll be able to put that in the next video. So thank you for anyone who's taken the time to listen. This is not obviously a professional video setting. It's literally just me trying to keep everyone I love and I know informed, or anyone that might just be interested. So thanks again for your time, and I love you guys.